Hi guys, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Story Tale. Today I'm going to be talking about Nirmala by Premchand. I wanted to do November as a classic month. I wanted to read all the classics that I could, but somehow life gets in the way. I was not able to read as much book as I wanted. Actually, I didn't even complete half of it. I've just been able to finish 2 of the books. I know this is really a bad thing when you are a booktuber and your channel is basically based on books. But sometimes I just don't feel like reading, and it's been really hard this month to actually pick up a book and finish it. This book, as you can see, is a very short book. It does not have many pages in it, maybe 160 or something, but it took me about 1 week to actually finish it. I just don't know, I just didn't feel like reading this month. That is why I could not finish it. I may try the same thing in the next year. I may start a little bit earlier for the classic November month, but this year I was not able to finish what I started. I may be able to read 1 or 2 books by the end of this month and maybe finish the other books in the next month. I'm not so sure. Let's see what I feel like doing. But anyway, let's start talking about this book because this book is amazing. Nirmala by Premchand is very close to my heart. I have read it when I was in school. I do not remember which class, maybe 7 or 8, I do not know. But at that time, even then, I liked it. It was a very interesting story. It has a very nice messaging and everything. Of course, the effect of this book was very different when I was in school, and now it hits in a different way. I picked this book in Hindi because I wanted to read it in its original language. I've been reading way too many English books, and this was a really nice change. Anyway, now let me walk you through the story a little bit. As the name suggests, this is a story of Nirmala. Nirmala was very young, around 15 or 16, when her father died, and she was actually spoken to marry this person who was almost her age, but due to insufficient dowry, he kind of refused to marry her. That is why her mother, who had no money left for dowry, had to get her married to this middle-aged man who was actually double her age or even more than that. And due to this unmatched marriage, what happens after that and what are the consequences that they had to face is the basic story of this book. The main issues that this book handles is dowry and the condition of women in the society. Nirmala, who had no dowry in her name, had to get married to this man who was almost double her age, and she was not happy with it. Every day, even though Totaram, who is her husband, was trying too much to actually try to make her happy or something, but she was just not happy with him. She was not happy with her condition. She had all the money in the world and still she was not happy, and that unhappiness led to many things to happen. Totaram had 3 children, Siaram, Mansaram and Jiaram, and all 3 of these children met with a very unfortunate events because of their unhappy marriages. Even Nirmala, Totaram and everyone surrounded by them had to face some kind of consequences because of that uneven marriage. I will dive more into the story with my like and dislike section. I do not have 3 likes and dislikes for this book. I have just 2 each because this book was not that big, so it does not have much to talk about. I just was able to find only 2 of each. The first thing that I liked about this book is the plot of this book. This book has a very interesting story. I really loved the story of Nirmala and what happens to her after the marriage. It has a very fast-paced storylines. Year goes by and you see these events fold one by one, and it is very interesting. If I had been not a reading slump, I would have enjoyed it in like a day or something. But because of my nature, I could not able to finish it. But I know that this is a very good book and it keeps you hooked. There are many things that happen to Nirmala and people surrounding her, and each and every event is very interesting. It's very nice to see all these things happening to these characters, even though it has many sad scenes in this book, and especially there are some scenes with Mansaram which is very tragic and which is very sad, and those are the scenes that kind of keeps you hooked. Throughout the book, the main thing that you can see is that Nirmala has been very unfortunate from the start of the book. There's so many bad things that happen to her. There's so many wrong things that are done to her, and everyone actually ends up blaming her for everything. Even though she has very nice intentions about people, still because she was a stepmother to these young children, they always kind of end up blaming her. Things started to get worse when Totaram started to believe that Nirmala has an affair with his oldest son Mansaram. Both of them are around same age. That is why he has that doubt. But that comes from his own insecurity, because he also know that he is double the age of Nirmala and he is an unmatched person for her, and that is from where his insecurity come from, and that is why he sent Mansaram away, and that is what led to his untimely death. The grief and guilt over Mansaram's death also led him to the road of poverty. He was not able to concentrate on his work, and that is what also led the other two of his boys to leave the house because they could not bear to live with their father and Nirmala. The story of this book is full of tragic and very sad. There's barely any happy moments in this book. Everyone kind of end up with a very bad fate except for I think Nirmala's sister. She's the only one who gets benefited from this book. But other than that, everyone has a very unfortunate fate in this book, and that is what makes this book very interesting. The second thing that I like about this book is the social messaging behind this book. There are so many issues that has been handled, like dowry and the condition of women in the society. Dowry has been the main theme of this book. Because of dowry, Nirmala had to marry this person who was double her age, and after that many things happened. Because of dowry, the doctor who was supposed to marry Nirmala in the first place ended up marrying someone else. But when he saw Nirmala after years, and he kind of fell in love with her again, and he was very guilty about what he did. It was him who refused to get married to her because of the dowry, and after that even he met with a very unfortunate event. The system of dowry and how it works has shown very brilliantly in this book. It has also touched upon the consequences of mismatched marriage. Nirmala, who was half the age of her husband, was never happy, and because of that unhappiness many things happened, as I've already talked about earlier. So that was again an issue that has been touched upon in this book. You can also see injustices that happen to women in this book. Nirmala, who has good intention and has been trying to be good mother to these three children of Totaram, still they end up blaming her for everything. Totaram is at fault in this book, and still everyone keep on turning on Nirmala. Everyone thinks that it is her fault because she is the stepmother. There are also scenes in this book where you can see how easily teenagers can be influenced by strangers and how easy it is to beguile them when there's tension in the family. Like I said, this book touched upon many issues, and it is just 160 pages and it has done a lot. No wonder Premchand is one of the most popular and respected author of Hindi Sahitya, because his stories are just amazing. He takes upon social issues and turn them into these beautiful stories which are not just too much on the nose but still are very interesting to read. The dislike section is not a big deal for this book. I'm just nitpicking things because I actually loved this book. It was kind of a perfect story, but there are still one or two things that I did not agree with. So now let's talk about that. The first thing that I've seen in this book is that the characters are kind of over dramatic. Like all the three children of Totaram are way too dramatic. Mansaram, he ended up dying for like almost nothing. I get it that he realized that Totaram was actually having doubts regarding him and his mother. But still he could have just left everything and be happy in his own life. But still he ended up being so much depressed and everything that he ended up dying. So I think that was a little bit over dramatic for my taste actually, because I think something went from 0 to 100 just in a matter of seconds. There are other ways to handle this situation. He could have been just angry or done something else other than just die. So for me, I think Mansaram was way too over dramatic. Even his brothers Siaram and Mansaram, they just left house for like almost nothing. The first one left house, I do not remember who, Siaram, Jiaram, because all of those names are almost same. So the first one left house because he had indifferences with Totaram. They were in constant fight and everything, and then one night he stole some jewelries from Nirmala. So after that he kind of left house. Even though Totaram was trying to protect him, he would not have said much to him, but still he just decided to leave house and run away, and after that he was never able to find. That was again a little bit understandable. I mean, compared to the other two, it was a little bit understandable, but still I think that was again a little bit over dramatic. And the third child left house just because he didn't want to go to the market to buy things. That is one of the most stupid reasons that I've ever seen. He was actually fed up of going to the market and doing the chores that Nirmala wanted, and that is something I do not know, a little bit over dramatic from me again, because he just left because of that. There was nothing great reason about that. And the one thing that I do not know is why this family of Totaram does not love each other. I mean, these three, all of these brothers, I can understand that they do not love Totaram, okay fine, and they do not love Nirmala, but all these three brothers do not love each other too. Maybe this happens in families, I do not know, because I have seen families where there are some sort of love, but this family has no love altogether. Totaram loves his children, but again he ends up not treating them good. Nirmala tries to love them, but they do not love her back, and all these brothers have no bonding at all. They rarely talk to each other. They rarely do anything for each other. They do not think anything about each other. So I do not know. I did not agree with the family family dynamic. I think this whole family is a little bit over dramatic. The second thing that I want to talk about is of my personal opinion. I mean, of course, the whole video is my personal opinion, but this thing in particular is something I do not know. I did not notice when I was in school, and I did notice this now. There's just one thing that I think may be an issue, or maybe have been issue when this book was first published, is how it shows the consequences of second marriages. I understand that the marriage was uneven, that she got married to her husband who is double his age, but there are many love marriages happen when there's a big age gap between two people, and if they love each other, it's not a big deal, and if it's a second marriage, then also it is not a big deal. But in this book, it has kind of been shown, I know it is not on purpose, but I think many people can get this wrong messaging that second marriage or a stepmother is not a good idea. Nirmala is the stepmother of all these three children, and very bad thing happened to all these three children, and they kind of end up blaming their stepmother. So many people who read this book at that time when it was first published may have thought the stepmother is basically an evil person. And there are many movies which was made in the 80s and the 90s where the stepmothers were shown in a very bad light. Even now, I don't think the condition is much better, but still it is better than before. But this book kind of has a theme that which kind of shows that the second marriages or stepmother are something that everyone should stay away from. So I do not know if it has the same impact at that time. I did not see it when I was in school. I am noticing it now. I do not know if that is something that you have noticed too. Do let me know in the comments down below. But that is my personal opinion. I think it has this problem in this book. I do not know what you feel. Do let me know in the comments down below. I like this book a lot. That is why I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I loved Train to Pakistan much better. But still, this book was very interesting too. That is why I gave it 4.5 stars. So that was my review of Premchand's most famous classic. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this book and what you think of this video. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified of my future videos. Until we meet again, see you.